In 1914, Russia had the world's largest land army. Its population was exploding, its territory spanned continents. Now fast forward to 2024. The same geography, the same lands, but an empty shell. Villages are deserted, factories have shut down, young men have gone to the front, some never to return. This is not just the story of a war. It is a tragedy written by a century of poor decisions, structural neglect, and demographic blindness. Are you ready? Let's begin. Russia's population in 1890 was approximately 148 million. Today, 144 million. Zero net growth in 30 years. During this period, Turkey grew from 56 million to 85 million. The world population exceeded 8 billion. Russia, however, remained stagnant. But the real problem is not the numbers, it's the composition. The population pyramid has inverted. The elderly segment is swelling and the young and productive male population is shrinking dramatically. The fertility rate is 1.5 per woman, while the threshold required for the population to renew itself is 2.1. So Russia is shrinking even without war. Add to that, the generation born in the 1990s is the product of what is known as the demographic dip. They are few in number, economically vulnerable, and now at the age when they should be having children. The demographic dip is now hitting its second wave. And male life expectancy is still 15 years below the European average. In the post-Soviet era, alcohol, poverty, and a collapsing healthcare system caused millions of premature deaths. All this had accumulated even before the war began. To understand today, we must look back. In 1914, World War I. In 1917, the Revolution. In 1918, 1922, the Civil War. During this period, Russia suffered 7 to 12 million casualties, compounded by epidemics, famine, and violence. In the 1930s, collectivization and the Great Terror sent millions to the Gulag or to their graves. And World War II, 27 million dead. More people than the current population of Australia in 4 years. But after 1945, the Soviets recovered. Within 10 years, they detonated an atomic bomb and launched Sputnik into space. How? The demographic foundation was solid. The population was young, fertility was high, and a productive generation grew rapidly. Today's Russia is completely devoid of this foundation. The same blood is being shed, but the capacity for recovery is gone. It's 4 a.m. on February 24th, 2022. A Russian armored convoy is moving along a forest road near the Ukrainian border. Among them is a 22-year-old leaving his village for the first time. There is a 35-year-old whose third child has not yet been born. There is a 40-year-old who was called up under compulsory mobilization. They were all told the same thing. 3 days, maybe 5. The Ukrainian people will welcome you. Some believed, others had no choice but to believe in something else. That morning, the vehicles crossed the border. The planned duration was 3 days. What actually happened was a war that is still ongoing, causing new casualties every morning. The exact number is disputed. Russia systematically conceals its casualties. But even the most conservative Western estimates speak of 150,000 to 300,000 dead and wounded. This number is growing every day. These losses are not randomly distributed. Those going to the front consist largely of two groups: young men from rural and remote areas, from Russia's poorest regions such as Buryatia, Dagestan, Tuva, and Yakutia. And then there are low-income, disconnected urban men between the ages of 35 and 50. This selection is no coincidence. It is a mechanism whereby economic desperation turns people into soldiers. And these people form the very core of Russia's already shrinking productive population. Those who leave take with them the void they leave behind in the factory, in the fields, in the family. Those who return often suffer from PTSD, amputation, or chronic injuries. The demographic cost of war is not measured solely by the dead, it is also measured by those left incomplete. When partial mobilization was declared in September 2022, departures from Russia reached record levels. Estimates range from 500,000 to 1 million. But who left? Software developers, engineers, artificial intelligence researchers, entrepreneurs, academics, doctors. In short, the core of the knowledge economy. These people have scattered to Georgia, Germany, the UAE, and Serbia, and the vast majority will not return. History tells us this clearly. They are settling down, putting down roots, sending their children to school. Russia invested in educating these people for years. Now, because of a single political decision, it is handing over this human capital to rival economies for free. This is different from losing a battle, but perhaps it is a more long-term destruction. Between 30 and 45% of Russia's budget depended on oil and gas revenues for decades. This structural blindness, known as the Dutch disease, prevented economic diversification despite energy wealth. And with the war, this vulnerability became apparent. Europe rapidly reduced its dependence on Russian gas, Germany built LNG terminals, Norway increased its exports, and American LNG flowed into European ports. This split is permanent. Russia turned to China, but China is exploiting Russia's weakness at the negotiating table, buying gas below market price. Russia has lost market share and bargaining power in the remaining market. While the defense budget has increased by over 60%, dependence on oil revenues to finance it is also growing. If oil prices fall, the war machine will grind to a halt. This war is also one of the most intense technological conflicts in history. Ukraine used a wide range of unmanned systems, from tactical UAVs such as the Bayraktar TB2 to modified DJI Mavic drones, as both reconnaissance and attack platforms. Small commercial drones were used to place explosives in trenches and for real-time coordination. Russia, meanwhile, attacked Ukraine's infrastructure with Iranian-made Shahed 136 kamikaze drones and is trying to increase its own production capacity. But the critical bottleneck is semiconductors. A modern radar, missile guidance system, or electronic warfare platform requires dozens of advanced technology chips. Most of these chips are manufactured in Taiwan, South Korea, and the US. Western sanctions are restricting these chips. Russia is partially circumventing this barrier through grey markets and third countries, but it is costly, slow, and low quality. It has been documented that household electronic chips are being produced by some Russian systems. This sums up where we stand in the technology war. Imagine a young man from Donetsk, Russia. 24 years old, a factory technician. His mobilization papers arrived. Training was crammed into a few weeks, and he was sent to the front. Facing him were Ukrainian troops with reinforced positions, drone support, and Western equipment. According to Western intelligence assessments and independent analysts, the survival expectancy for Russian infantry deployed on active offensive missions in the most intense conflict zones of eastern Ukraine in 2023-2024 fell below 12 hours in some operations. 12 hours, about the length of a normal work shift. This is not war, it is the industrial-scale consumption of human resources. And according to some reports, the Russian command has consciously adopted this consumption as a strategy through mass infantry attacks known as wave tactics. The price for this tactic is paid by every Vanya sent to the front. The impact of this war on Moscow has been limited, but rural Russia is experiencing a different reality. Think of the remote villages of Siberia, the mountain towns of Dagestan. These places were already shrinking due to migration and low birth rates over the past 30 years. Now the war is coming and 10, 20, 30 more men are being taken from the village. Those who return are often injured or traumatized. Who will plow the fields? Who will raise the children? Who will keep the small market going? These questions cease to be individual tragedies and become indicators of structural collapse. And there are tens of thousands of such villages in Russia. The same dynamic is at work in all of them. The war has dramatically accelerated the already ongoing demographic erosion in rural areas. By watching this video, you have now gone behind the headlines. You have seen that this is not just a war, it is the final act of a century-long accumulation. This unbroken line stretches from the destruction of World War I through the Bolshevik Revolution, the Civil War, Stalinism, the 27 million casualties of World War II, and the economic shock of the Soviet collapse, to the generational consumption of today's war in Ukraine. Title: A Century of Suicide. This line paints a multifaceted picture of demographic collapse, brain drain, energy dependency, and technological gap. And the demographic foundation Russia needs to emerge from this process can only be rebuilt over generations, if the right decisions are made. Today's decisions are not in that direction. The curtain hasn't closed yet, but it is slowly coming down. Subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. This story isn't over yet, and you'll want to keep watching to see the whole picture.